الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد, the author he mentioned rahimahullah ta'ala al-ishruna, the 20th mas'ala min masail al-jahiliyyah, the 20th issue from the affairs and the aspects of the days of ignorance. اعتقادهم في مخالق السحرة وأمثالهم أنها من كرامات الصالحين ونسبته إلى الأنبياء كما نسبوه لسليمان عليه السلام. The author he mentioned rahimahullah that they believe, their creed and belief, meaning the people of al-Jahiliyyah, their creed and belief and the makhariq of the sahara, of the magicians and the likes of them, from the liars and the soothsayers and the people who seek aid and help in the devil, waliyadhu billah, to achieve affairs and to perform amazing events, and that they believe that these are from the karamat of the salihin, of the righteous, and the amazing feats and events that Allah Azza wa Jal causes to happen at the hands of some of the righteous as a means of honoring them and showing their truthfulness and sincerity and faith. They will mix these two affairs up. And then they will ascribe that likewise to the prophets, alayhimus salatu wassalam, just as they ascribed it to Sulaiman alayhi salam. And meaning that the magicians, they were teaching the people magic and performing these amazing events with magic, things that the people were not able to achieve or to do, and then they ascribed that to Sulaiman alayhi salam, and then they ascribed that to Sulaiman alayhi salam. So we have some terms here, and that may be new for some people. Makhariq is the plural of khariq, and what is intended makhariq al-'ada, or something الشيء يكون خارقا للعادة. And what is intended here is something that is amazing, that normally will never occur. We call them in English miracles. Miracles, many times it's considered a miracle. An event will happen that's impossible or normally would never occur, or something that's very difficult to believe that happened, and it would happen in front of the eyes. What happened in front of the eyes, makhariq al-'ada, and something that goes out of the normal customs and ways of the people, something that's considered strange and very amazing, either with knowledge or with one's condition and state or the likes like this. So this is with regards to this affair, these miracles that occur, that occur. And then likewise he's referring here to karamat as-salihin. Karamat is the plural of karama, and these issues here that are considered makhariq lil-'ada, these affairs that are considered makhariq lil-'ada, that are miracles or things that can generally not occur, or amazing events that take place at the hands of some people. The people of knowledge have clarified that they occur in three aspects. And at the hands of three different types of people. They occur in three aspects and at the hands of three different types of people. The first type of person that this miracle will occur at his hands is a prophet from the prophets of Allah Azza wa Jal. Is the makhariq al-'ada li al-anbiya wal-rusul alayhimus salatu wassalam. And these are called al-ayat wal-barahin. Al-ayat wal-hujaj wal-barahin. Al-ayat wal-hujaj wal-barahin. There are amazing miracles that would occur at the hands of the prophets and messengers, alayhimus salatu wassalam. And these miracles here, they're called ayat. Also, they're called hujaj and barahin. And what is intended is that they're clear proofs and evidences of the truthfulness of the prophets and messengers. So all of the prophets and messengers, alayhimus salatu wassalam, those who were truthful in their claim to prophethood and messengership, they were sent. They were sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they were aided with truth, and they were aided by Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah caused amazing events to happen at their hands a number of times for the prophets and messengers, each one clarifying that they are truthful in their claim to prophethood. Because many people, they will have a claim to prophethood, or they'll have a claim to messengership or to receive revelation. But that which distinguishes the claimants is that the prophets and messengers, they're aided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bi-ayat wa hujjaz wa barahin. Bi-ayat wa hujjaz wa barahin. They're aided with evidences and signs and proofs that are clear. Amazing events that will happen. Amazing events that will happen. For example, some of them, Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, the signs came, and the blood and the frogs, and these different signs came as a punishment for Fir'aun and his people. And likewise, he split the sea and he crossed across the water safely, alayhi salam, him and his people. And then after that, the enemies of Allah Azza wa Jal, Fir'aun and his army, they were drowned. This occurred in the face of the people. They're witnessing this. The believers, they witness this, and the disbelievers, they witness this. Amazing events that occurred in this manner. Likewise, Isa alayhi salam, that he would heal the leper, and the person that was afflicted with a major disease that knew no cure for in those days. He would cure him by the permission of Allah. He could touch him and he would become cured, and he'll be cured, and he'll be cured by the permission of Allah. Even he brought the dead back to life. Jesus, Isa alayhi salatu wassalam, he brought the dead back to life by the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal. These are great signs proving and clarifying that they're truthful in their claim to be given revelation and to be sent with guidance from the Lord of the worlds, from the Lord of the worlds. And likewise, our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many proofs and evidences, signs clarifying his truthfulness sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the greatest of them is the noble Quran. Quran in Arabian. It's an Arabic recitation. It's an Arabic recitation that remains pristine and pure in this day, in the manner it was revealed, and not changed in one letter, and it cannot be reproduced. It cannot be replicated. It cannot be reproduced nor replicated, and mankind has not been able to bring anything like it or similar to it, not even one verse in over 1,400 years. And the challenge still stands. So this is from the greatest sign. Likewise, there's other signs. There's other signs that the moon split in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and likewise the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam a number of times on journeys, whenever they're starving and they're out of provision, the food would multiply in abundance in front of their face. Radiyallahu anhum, an amazing affair. And at one time, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam put his noble hands in the dish, and water become streaming and flowing from between his fingers. A miracle and a sign the companions, they witnessed. Radiyallahu anhum. A number of events that are well known in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that are considered ayat. So the point is now that these miracles, these miraculous events that occur at the hands of some people, from that is which is called ayat. Signs, proofs, evidences. Signs, proof, and evidences clarifying the truthfulness of a prophet. And these ayat, they occur at the hands of the prophets and messengers. They occur at the hands of the prophets and messengers. The second type are called karamat, and it's the plural of karama. And the karama literally means being honored. Karama min al-karam. And karam is generosity and honoring, and karama is to honor. So this occurs at the hands of the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jal, of the atba' al-rusuli haqqan, the true followers. Atba' al-anbiya wal-rusuli haqqan. It occurs at the hands of the true followers of the prophets and messengers. They're called karamat. We might say in English, likewise, miracles, but they're not of the status of the ayat that the prophets and messengers are given, alayhim as-salatu wassalam, but they are no doubt amazing events that occur at the hands of some of the righteous. At the hands of some of the righteous. And the people of knowledge, they mentioned they occur for two reasons: lil-hujjati wal-hajah. Lil-hujjah wal-hajah. Sometimes it'll occur as a hujjah, an evidence and proof of the truthfulness of that individual and the sincerity and purity of his faith, that he's truly a follower of the prophets and messengers. So from this aspect, the karamat al-awliya ayatun lil-anbiya. Karamat al-awliya ayatun للأنبياء, the karamat, the true miracles that occur at the hands of the true followers of the prophets and messengers are in reality signs and evidences and proofs for those messengers and prophets, for those prophets and messengers. Meaning that this miraculous event occurred at his hand because he's sincere in following that prophet. And he's sincere and truthful in following that prophet, and because of this virtue and this sincerity and truly following that prophet, he reached this level that Allah honored him and raised him and allowed this amazing event to occur at his hands for the people to see. To occur at his hands and for the people to see. So this is a sign that he's truthful in his faith and following that prophet and messenger. And that's a proof for that prophet and messenger likewise, that these events occur at the hands of their followers. And likewise it might occur for a need, al-hajj. Maybe somebody is in a dire need or dire situation and help, and he's sincere and truthful, and Allah Azza wa Jal will cause these miraculous events to occur to them. Maybe as individuals, or maybe in the front, maybe as an individual by himself, or maybe even in front of the people and they witness. And it's not necessary that it will be something that all of the people will see, but it will be something that Allah will honor the likes of this person with and raise him in this manner, and it will be for either to establish the evidence of his truthfulness and his ascription to the Prophet, to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to his religion, to his deen, to his way, and he is sincere and truthful in his piety and his righteousness, and this amazing event will occur, and he has an evidence for that. Or because a person is in a hardship or dire need, or in a circumstance of necessity, and he's likewise truthful, Allah Azza wa Jal will cause this affair to happen to him. So the karama, the people of knowledge, they say, it is أمر خارق للعادة في علم أو تأثير جرى على يد ولي. That the karama أمر خارق للعادة. This is an affair that's outside of normal events, and outside of the normal circumstances. Meaning it's something miraculous. Related to knowledge, or to having an effect on something or someone, and it occurs at the hands of a wali. This is the difference between the karama and the ayah, because the ayah, al-ayah tajri ala yadi al-nabi, ala yadi nabiyyin. So there's a difference between the ayah and the karama. The karama is this khariq lil-'ada, yani fi ilmin aw ta'thir, yajri ala yadi nabiyyin, that occurs at the hands of a prophet. As for the karama, then it's this amazing event that occurs at the hand of a wali. And in these days and throughout history, there are many people claiming the wilayah, and claiming that he's the wali, or claiming that they're the awliya, and the likes like this. But the true understanding of a wali, the people of knowledge, they have mentioned, كُلُّ مُؤْمِنٍ تَقِي لَيْسَ بِالنَّبِي. كُلُّ مُؤْمِنٍ تَقِي لَيْسَ بِالنَّبِي. Every pious and sincere, true believing slave that's not a prophet, he's considered a wali. Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentioned, أَلَا إِنَّ أَوْلِيَاءَ اللَّهِ لَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Indeed, the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jal, the true allies and beloved slaves and servants to Allah Azza wa Jal, لَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. They have no fear upon them, nor do they have any grief. And at this point, if a person, he ponders and thinks, who are they? What is their description? If you just continue reading, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He clarifies that. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. Yani the verse itself clarifies who they are. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, those who believe, they have sincere and true, correct Islamic faith. وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ, and they have piety and fear of Allah. So we have here the description of the awliya, and we have the mention of two descriptions gathered together in one context. And one of them is al-iman, and the other one is at-taqwa. Al-iman wa taqwa. And taqwa is from iman, and iman is from taqwa. And there's no taqwa without iman. And the true reality or the perfection of iman is at-taqwa. But whenever these terms are mentioned in one context together, al-iman is referring to the creed and the faith, and likewise performing the obligations and the actions that are recommended and good to perform. And as for the taqwa, this is in reference to leaving off the prohibitions. So from here, the people of knowledge, they have given this description. The description of the wali, كُلُّ مُؤْمِنٍ تَقِي لَيْسَ بِالنَّبِي. Every pious and righteous believer who's not a prophet. who's not a prophet, he's from the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jal. وَالنَّاسِ يَتَفَاوَتُونَ فِي الْوِلَايَةِ. And the people, they vary with regards to the wilayah, according to their faith and according to their taqwa. According to their faith and according to their taqwa. To pay attention here, the strongest wilayah, it comes by implementing both affairs, establishing the obligations in the manner prescribed and avoiding the prohibitions. And this is something that is difficult. The people of knowledge, they mention that the Muslims, all of the people are able to perform the obligations in general, but not everyone can avoid the prohibitions. The prohibitions many times is the test and the scale to determine one's faith. And the Muslims, all of them, they establish the salah. The Muslims, all of them, they attend the Jumu'ah. The Muslims, all of them, they fast in Ramadan in general. But not all of the Muslims, they leave the haram and they avoid that which is impermissible, and they check their eyes and their ears and their tongues and their hearts with the reins of the legislation. Not all of them are able to do that. So this is the determining factor between those who are strong in their faith and they have a great portion of the wilayah, and he's a true wali from the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jal, and those who are lesser than that. Likewise, in the hadith of Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu, which is well known, hadith Qudsi, it's known as hadith al-wali, the hadith of the wali. And Allah, He mentioned in this narration the clarification also of the description of the wali, of the true wali. And it's so important to understand, because Allah Ar-Rahman subhanahu wa ta'ala lahu awliya, وكذلك إبليس شيطان والعياذ بالله له أولياء الرحمن وأولياء الشيطان. أولياء الرحمن وأولياء الشيطان. They are allies, those who have an allegiance with Ar-Rahman subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they have characteristics and traits that they're known by. And they are likewise allies and individuals who have an allegiance with the devil, وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ, and they likewise have characteristics and traits that they're known by. But because of ignorance of the likes of these affairs, many people are confused. And they think that the awliya of shaitan are the awliya of Ar-Rahman, and they honor them and respect them. And this is the issue here of Al-Jahiliyyah. So not every amazing event and not every miraculous event that occurs is occurring at the hand of a wali. Some of these events, they will occur at the hand of the devils and the followers of the devils. وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. The hadith of the wali. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned that Allah, He said in that, وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ عَبْدِي بِشَيْءٍ أَحَبَّ إِلَيْهِ مِمَّا افْتَرَضْتُ عَلَيْهِ وَلَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. Until the end of the hadith. That my slave will not seek nearness to me with anything more beloved to me except that which I have made obligatory upon him. And then my slave will continue to seek nearness to me by way of the voluntary actions until I love him. So this is the description of the awliya, those who are performing the obligations, drawing near to Allah Azza wa Jal by that which is incumbent upon them and mandatory, and likewise increasing after that in performing the non-obligatory affairs. So that which Allah has made obligatory, and there are actions that must be performed, and there are actions that must be avoided. And if there are commandments that must be performed, and there are prohibitions that must be avoided. And after that, a field of competition. After that, there's a field of competition, seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and performing the non-obligatory actions and avoiding and staying away from that which is disliked. The point that this is the description of the true wali. In order to identify these affairs. Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu yukhrijuhum min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur walladhina kafaru awliya'uhum at-taghut yukhrijunahum min an-nur ila adh-dhulumat. So the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jalla, this is their description here. But likewise, the third category of people that these amazing events, these miraculous affairs occur at their hands, they occur at the hands of the Sahara. Of the Sahara, وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ, with the Musha'widhin, As-Sahara wa Musha'widhin, and if those people who work magic and they worship the devil and they seek aid and help from the devil to perform these amazing affairs. From the magicians and the soothsayers and the fortune tellers and those who claim to have knowledge of the unseen and to know where missing items are or where people are or the likes like this, or they have ability but to harm the people or to cause individuals to love each other for no reason or to hate each other and despise each other for no reason, bringing individuals together or separating them and the likes like this, using magic and seeking aid from the devils, from the jinn, from the shayateen of the jinn, وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. So we have the ayat, and we have the karamat, and we have ahwal shaytaniyah. Ayatun وكرامات وأحوال شيطانية. We have to distinguish between the three. The ayat, they occur at the hands of the prophets and messengers alayhimu salatu wasalam. The karamat, they occur at the hands of the true followers of the prophets and messengers alayhimu salatu wasalam. And al-ahwal al-shaytaniyah, these satanic circumstances and events that occur, they occur at the hands of the magicians and the followers of the magicians and the likes, and the fortune tellers and the soothsayers and those who worship the devil to establish these affairs. So from the ways of the people of Al-Jahiliyyah, they would see these amazing events occurring at the hands of the wicked and the evil, at the hands of the magician, the lowly and the found, the hands of the magicians, the lowly and the found, and then they would believe that this is aid and this is honor and respect and aid from Allah Azza wa Jal. And then they would even ascribe that on top of that to the prophets and messengers, like they did Sulaiman, ascribing those books, the books of magic and the magic that is found there, to Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam. So what is the scale to determine these affairs? Because many people could easily be confused. And meaning that sometimes there's a person maybe who will fly in the sky. He'll fly in the air. He'll be seen flying in the air, floating in the air with nothing carrying him. Or somebody will be walking on the water and the likes like this. Somebody will be walking on the water and the likes like this. Or something will happen and something will happen suddenly. And this is so to determine the difference between the two. Because is it from the karamat al-awliya? Is it from the karamat al-awliya, or is it from the ahwal al-shaytaniyah? So we have to be able to distinguish. And from the karamat, I remember now that are mentioned in the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, in Surah Maryam, in Surah Al Imran, in the story of Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam, when Zakaria came to her and he said, Ya Maryamu anna laki hada. Ya Maryamu anna laki, and she's getting this provision, she's getting this fruit, she's getting this food and the likes like this. Even it's mentioned, and Allah knows best, that some of the provision that she's getting is types of foods that's out of season or not available, but it's coming to her. And with ease and the likes like this. And she mentioned that it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَرْزُقُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. And He provides whom He wills. And He provides whom He wills for as He wills, without reckoning subhanahu wa ta'ala. So she was honored in this manner. No doubt, to have a child without intercession, without a male and the likes. So this is all from the amazing affairs. And she's not a prophet. So this is also from those signs that she was truthful. Siddiqah. Allahu Akbar. So these events, they occur at the hands of the righteous, but also they occur at the hands of the wicked and the evil. So the people of Nar, as they mentioned, al-mizan huwa ahwal al-mar, and the circumstance of a person. Ahwaluhu min al-taqwa wal-ittiba' aw al-fusuq wal-ibtida'. Ahwaluhu, yani ahwal al-mar'i min al-taqwa wal-ittiba' aw al-fusuq wal-ibtida'. Yani the condition of a person. You don't look into the feat that's happening. You don't look into the miraculous event that's occurring itself and then just believe, oh, he has the help of Allah. He has the aid of Allah. Allah supporting him and aiding him, and he's from the awliya of Allah. Not like that. Rather, it's by looking into the circumstance of that person. Whether he's a person of taqwa and piety and following restrictedly the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or whether he's a person of evil and corruption and disobedience and innovation. So if an amazing event occurs, something that's not normal, that normally doesn't happen, somebody may say that's impossible, that could never happen, or that's miraculous, this is a miracle. How did that happen? Are you serious? Allahu Akbar. If that occurs at the hand of someone, and we look into them and we know them, and all we know from them is goodness, and all we know from them is following the sunnah, all we know from them is that they establish outwardly the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, this is a very good sign that that's a karama for that person. That's a very good sign that Allah has selected and chosen that person and honored him with this amazing affair, as a testification of the truthfulness of their faith, as a testification and as a truthfulness and to the truthfulness of their faith. But if we look at that individual, and we see that he is a disbeliever, waliyadhu billah, or he is a corrupt and open sinner, waliyadhu billah, we know evil about him, or he is a person of innovation, a person from the deviant sects or the deviant groups, and he ascribes to a tariqa Sufiya, for example, or he describes to one of these jama'at, or he's a grave worshipper, or he's somebody who worships Allah upon innovation, he's not known for the sunnah, then we should never be deceived. Because they're seeking aid and seeking help with the devils, waliyadhu billah. وَلِيَذِبِ بِاللَّهِ. And it's known that the devils, they will carry a person. People have been seen floating in the air. And the devils, they will carry them in this manner like this in order to deceive and to trick the people. Individuals have been seen walking on the water. This is not something that's strange. And this has been established. It's been seen. It's been known. It's been narrated that people, individuals, they'll walk on the water. Even in recent history, there's somebody in Africa claiming that he can walk on. They've seen him walking on the water. He'll step off the boat and walk on the water. And the likes like this. And he's Sufi. And he's Sufi. In the Sufiya, they do the likes of these affairs. They're seeking aid with the devils, وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. They're seeking aid with the devils, وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. So these affairs, they occur at their hands by the help of the devils. And the devils, they will only help them whenever they submit and surrender to them and obey them. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he says about this affair, clarifying it. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he died in the year 204. So this is something that's well known from the early generations. He said, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الرَّجُلَ يَمْشِي عَلَى الْمَاءِ أَوْ يُطِرُ فِي الْهَوَى فَلَا تَغْتَرُّ بِهِ حَتَّى تَعْرِضُ عَمْرَهُ عَلَى الْكِتَابِ وَالسُّنَّةِ. He said, if you see a man walking on the water or flying in the air, do not be deceived by him until you present his affair to the book and the sunnah. Till you present his affair to the book and the sunnah. Ibn Kathir, he mentioned this narration here in his tafsir, in Surah Al-Baqarah. And so this is something that is well known. So we have to learn the traits of the righteous. Learn the traits of the righteous to identify them. And learn the traits of the wicked to identify them. Sometimes a person, he's in need of these affairs. Because if not, he can easily be deceived. And then many times you will find the likes of these people who are in reality upon ahwal shaytaniyah. They're in these devilish, satanic circumstances, seeking the help of the devils to perform amazing feats to trick the people. From the signs that he's a liar is that he'll display that and he'll claim that. And he will tell everyone about his affair. I'm the wali. Look at me, I can do this. I'll walk on the water. I'm the wali. I'll walk on the water. I'm the wali. Look, I can walk on the air. I can fly in the air. And or do some amazing affairs. And they do other stuff. They'll swallow fire. Or they'll walk on coals, heated coals. They'll walk across them like it's nothing. Some of the turuq, this is their way. It is known that this tariqah, like when you want to join them, that you have to be able to walk on the fire, or they'll display this affair. They'll make a bed of hot coals and they'll walk across it like it's nothing. Or some of them, they'll swallow the sword and the likes like this. Or they'll do other amazing events, putting iron down their throat and it will not harm them. Or they'll do other things that are amazing, that can never happen or normally happen. And they're very strange and miraculous. And they will survive through that and live through that. And then also they'll display that. Likewise, this is all a sign that he's following the devils and not the prophets and messengers. Contrary, the true awliya of Allah Azza wa Jal, those who truly receive the karamat, they will be shy. They'll be shy from Allah Azza wa Jal, and they will not tell the people. They'll not tell the people, and they'll not expose their situation. Rather, they'll try to hide that. And from the people, and they'll not brag about that and the likes like this. They'll not brag about that and the likes like this except whenever it's needed or it's a benefit and it's a must, that it must come out that this event had happened and the likes like this, and for a purpose. But in general, they will not display the karama that happened to them or the help, the great amazing affairs and the likes like this. So this is from the difference. The Salaf used to warn from being deceived by the likes of the innovators. From the innovators in our days, they're established upon this way, the way of the Sufiya, the way of the Rafidah, and the extreme ones and the likes like this. They're established upon this way of the Jahiliyyah, seeking help in the devils and in magicians. Some of them, they're mashayikh. And they're considered imams in the deen. They're considered imams in the deen, imam of the masjid. He leads them in prayer. And the likes like this, but he's a magician. He does magic. It's known in the societies. Go to some of the African countries, you'll find them. Especially there. Even in other places likewise. But especially in some of those countries, they're affected by them in a major manner. In Gambia and in Southern Africa and Western Africa, in these countries, they're affected by these individuals. They claim to be mashayikh and they claim to have knowledge and the likes like this, but in reality they're magicians, and they're known magicians. They're performing magic. And the people of the Sunnah in those lands, they're having battles. They're going in it with these individuals. They're going in it with these individuals, trying to warn from them, and they're using great means of trickery and deception and evil to harm the people of the Sunnah and to mislead the Muslims. وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. It's been narrated by Al-Awza'i rahimahullah. Al-Awza'i, he died in the year 150 157. Abu Abdurrahman ibn Amr al-Awzai rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, بلغني أن من ابتدع بدعة زين له الشيطان التنسك والعبادة وألقى عليه الخشوع كي يصطاد به. He said, it reached me that if a person he were to innovate an innovation, shaitan will decorate him, and shaitan will decorate him with actions of worship and servitude, and he will cast upon him the appearance of humbleness and humility in order to use him as a trap. In order to use him as a trap, yani meaning that so the people will be deceived by them. And this also goes back to the previous issue, that they were affected from the days of Jahiliyyah, to the previous issue from the days of Jahiliyyah, that they will follow the fasaqah from the ulama and the ubad. They will follow the fasaqah from the ulama and the ubad. So from them they're upon this way here. So from them they're upon this way here. So the awliya, so the ayat, these occur at the hands of the prophets and messengers. The karamat, they occur at the hands of the true believers, those who believe and they're righteous and pious in their faith, and this is what is seen from them outwardly. And then the ahwal shaytaniyya, the devilistic and shaitanic, satanic events and circumstances that occur at the hands of the sinners or the innovators or the wicked and the evil, or the wicked and the evil, and in reality it's magic and the likes and the devils. They are aiding them and helping them. They're aiding them and helping them. After this, the author, he says, Al-Hadiyata wal-Ishrun. Al-Hadiyatu wal-Ishrun. Number 21. Ta'abuduhum bil-muka'i wa-tasdiyah. Bil-muka' wa-tasdiyah. The 21st issue is that they used to worship Allah Azza wa Jal bil-muka' wa-tasdiyah. Yani al-muka', the people of knowledge, they mention as-safir, whistling. Al-muka', they'll put their fingers in their mouth and blow real hard, and a sound of screeching noise would come out, and it's called whistling. It's all well known, but they would do that loud. They would do that loud with tasdiyah at tasfiq, to clap their hands, to clap their hands. Allah, He mentioned about them, and the people of Jahiliyyah, وَمَا كَانَ صَلَاتُهُمْ عِنْدَ الْبَيْتِ إِلَّا مُكَاءً وَتَسْدِيَةً فَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابَ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَكْفُرُونَ. Allah, He says that مَا كَانَ صَلَاتُهُمْ عِنْدَ الْبَيْتِ إِلَّا مُكَاءً وَتَسْدِيَةً. Their salat at the bayt, at the house, their salat, al-mushrikun, ahl jahiliyyah, their salat, the way they perform salat at the bayt, the house of Allah Azza wa Jal, was nothing except for muka', whistling, and tasdiyah, and clapping their hands. It's been mentioned that this was their way, and this is how they would worship, and this is their salah. They're in front of the Al-Masjid al-Haram, and they perform salah. How do they perform salah? By whistling and clapping their hands. Some of it's been mentioned in some of the interpretations that they would do this as their religion, like it's mentioned, this is their deen. Others, they mention, likewise, they would do that in mockery of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. While the Prophet is actually performing salah, they will mock him and they will whistle and clap their hands. In any case, what is intended here, and Allah knows best, is that these people, they will worship Allah Azza wa Jalla upon innovation. It's an indication of worshiping Allah upon falsehood, upon desires, upon innovation, and taking the deen as a joke. And playing games. So their salah was nothing except for whistling and clapping their hands. Was nothing except for whistling and clapping their hands. As-Sa'di, he mentioned about this, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, ay safiran wa tasfiqa, meaning the muka and the tasdiyah, safiran wa tasfiqa, and whistling and clapping hands. ففعل الجهلة فعل الجهلة الأغبياء الذين ليس في قلوبهم تعظيم لربهم ولا معرفة بحقوقه ولا احترام لأفضل البقاع وأشرافها. That this is the action of the jahala, al-jahala al-aghbiya, of the ignorant fools. Yani the jahala, the jahil, wal-aghbiya, yani ghabi. Jahalatun aghbiya, waliyadhu billah, that they're dumb fools. This is the action of the dumb fools, those who have no reverence for their Lord in their heart, and they have no knowledge of the rights of Allah likewise, and nor do they honor and respect the most virtuous and noble places. And here they are in the most virtuous and noble place in the land, the most virtuous and noble place on earth, Al-Masjid al-Haram, Mecca al-Mukarramah, thumma Al-Masjid al-Haram. And here they are in that noble place. They can't do anything except for laugh and whistle and joke. Laugh, whistle and joke, and clap their hands. So they have no reverence. They have no reverence for their Lord in their hearts. They have no understanding or knowledge of the rights of Allah Azza wa Jal, and no respect and honor for this noble and sacred land, and for this noble land and sacred place, for this noble land and sacred place. He says, rahimahullah, فَإِذَا كَانَتْ هَذِهِ صَلَاتَهُمْ فِيهِ فَكَيْفَ بِبَقِيَّةِ الْعِبَادَاتِ. If this is their prayer, if this is the way they make salat in al-Masjid al-Haram, then what do you think about the rest of their actions of worship? And if they worship Allah Azza wa Jal in salah, in front of the house of Allah in this manner, by whistling and clapping their hands, what do you think about the rest of their actions of worship? What do you think about the rest of their actions and worship? So Shaykh al-Fawzan, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, he mentioned a benefit here. He says, وَمِنْ هُنَا يُؤْخَذُ التَّحْرِيمُ هَاتَيْنِ الْخَصْلَتَيْنِ الصَّفِيرُ وَالتَّصْفِيقُ. And from here we see, from here is derived the prohibition of these two traits, whistling and clapping the hands. Whistling and clapping the hands. وإن لم يقصد الإنسان بهما عبادة لأن في ذلك تشبها بالمشركين. Even if a person, he did not intend to do this as an action of worship. And he's saying here that it's forbidden to whistle or to clap your hands. Whistling and clapping hands is forbidden because of this verse here and this issue here. Even if a person, he did not intend to do that as an action of worship, because in that is a resemblance of the pagans and polytheists. Of the pagans and polytheists. But the people of knowledge, they mention likewise, التسفيق مباح للنساء للحاجة. التسفيق مباح للنساء للحاجة. That to clap the hands, it's permissible for the women in times of need. In times of need. And from that is whenever they're in salah and the imam, he makes a mistake. It's allowed for the women at this time to clap their hands to notify the imam, so that he is aware that he made a mistake. It's been collected by Bukhari and Muslim from the hadith of Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam is referring to this issue in the prayer. التسبيح للرجال والتشفيق للنساء. والتشفيق للنساء. That making tasbih, saying subhanallah, is for the men, and clapping the hands is for the women. And also in Bukhari and Muslim as well, from the hadith of Sa'd ibn Sa'd radiyallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, ما لي رأيتكم أكثرتم التشفيق من رابه شيء في صلاته فليسبح فإذا سبح التفت إليه وإنما التشفيق للنساء. Why do I see you clapping your hands a lot? He's saying this to his companions. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, من رابه شيء في صلاته فليسبح. Whoever something happens to him in his prayer, and he meaning there the imam, he needs to be notified, then he should say subhanallah. فإذا سبح التفت إليه. So if he makes tasbih in his prayer, then the people will pay attention to him, or the imam, or those who are he's in need to get their attention will pay attention to him. وإنما التشفيق للنساء. And that tasfiq, clapping the hands, is only allowed for the women. So likewise, this is refutation of the Western way. A refutation of the Western way. Whenever something happens and they see something they like in the congregation, they all start clapping their hands. And they applaud and the likes like that. Even some of them likewise, along with clapping their hands, what else do? They whistle. They whistle real loud. They put his fingers in his mouth like this, and he'll whistle. They're clapping hands and whistling, and the likes like this. This is from the ways of the kafara, and not from the ways of the mu'mineen. The believers, whenever they are finding something to be amazing, or they're happy about something that happens, they will glorify Allah Azza wa Jal. They will say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Many times it has come in the Sunnah, whenever the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would mention, for example, he said, would it not please you that you will be half of the people of paradise? Then they say, Allahu Akbar. They will say, Allahu Akbar. Or other times, maybe something would be amazing that would happen, or strange, and they'll say, Subhanallah, and the likes like this. So they'll glorify Allah. If something happens, something good happens, and the likes like this, a believer automatically, he says, Allahu Akbar. If somebody does something great, something good, and the likes like this in front of them, he will say, Allahu Akbar, Allahumma barik, Allahu Akbar, Subhan, or like this. Or if it's something amazing, or something strange even, or even sometime maybe something that one is he didn't like, he would say, Subhanallah. So yeah, Subhanallah, glorified is Allah, high and lofty above that. But he will not clap his hands. He will not clap his hands, and Allah knows best. So this is something that is mentioned here. The point from the clapping of hands and whistling here is that this was their religion. This was their deen, and this is something that they were upon. And the author, he mentioned after this, الثانية والعشرون, the 22nd aspect from the aspects of Jahiliyyah, أنهم اتخذوا دينهم لهوا ولعبا. that they have taken their religion as amusement and play. And اتخذوا دينهم لهوا ولعبا. They've taken their religion, their deen, as amusement and play. وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. And this was their way. And we can see that. They're in front of the masjid, al-masjid al-haram, and they're in one of the greatest aspects of worship, as-salat. And the reality of that is that they're whistling and clapping their hands. They're whistling and clapping their hands. And this jahiliyyah, it continues until this day. And it becomes more foul and more foul. And some of them, they'll be in the masjid, in the houses of Allah Azza wa Jal, doing the same thing, whistling and clapping their hands. Or some of them are beating on drums. Or even they'll have music and the lights like this. Or singing or dancing. Or even they'll have some deviant dances, waliyadu billah, where they're hopping up and down and dancing left and right, or they're all sitting together, moving their head left and right, saying La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. They're turning their religion into jokes and playing and games, joking and playing and games, waliyadu billah, joking and playing and games. You see them sometimes in the videos that they take of themselves on the internet, moving their heads this way and that way, and they all have a special way they do it. The Sufis in Indonesia, they have a special way they do it. And the Sufis in Sudan, they have a special way they do it. And the Sufis in this country, they have a special way they do it. And when you see it, you just say, Alhamdulillah, ladhi afani Alhamdulillah, afana mimma abtalahum bih. You just thank Allah Azza wa Jal for not being tried by this. And then the worst thing about it is they ascribe it to Al-Islam. They ascribe it to Al-Islam, saying La ilaha illallah, moving their head that way, moving their head this way, doing this and throwing their head. If one of them he slipped for a moment, then the heads will fly. I mean, some of the waliyadu billah, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. Others, they spin around in circles. They spin around in circles in the masjid, or even outside of the masjid, ascribing this to the religion. Some of them, the same people that we talked about before. The same people that we talked about before that had the difference of opinion when the Kaaba makes the tawaf around the awliya, and in the same books like these, in the same books, they have the chapter of dancing, like they have for that the chapter adab al-tahara, adab al-salah, adab yani qada al-haja, adab kada, adab raqs, the manners of dancing, the etiquettes of dancing. Yani the people of knowledge, you hear Shaykh Abdul Razak, he mentioned the likes of this, Hafidhullah, a number of times. And then if you get those same books he's referring to, you'll find it yourself. You'll find they have, for example, likewise, the book, Bab Adab As-Sama' wal-Wajd. Yani the chapter of listening to music and then becoming highly affected. And I don't know how to explain. And in a state of nirvana, where they listen and they say that you listen to the music until the extent that it moves you. Literally, that's the definition. If you look, it'll move you. يحرك أطراف البدن until it starts moving the ends of the bodies and the likes like this. And then even in the same book, it will say that this sama', this music, this ghina, يؤثر في القلب أكثر من القرآن من 7 وجوه. يؤثر الوجدة يعني أكثر من 7 وجوه, that it would affect and bring this good feeling in the heart more than the Quran from 7 aspects. From 7 aspects. And then they call the book is about reviving the sciences of the religion. And the likes like this, the name of the book. And Shaykh Abdul Razak mentioned, I read some of these myself. What I'm telling you was what I read. I have the book at home. You can read it if you like. But Shaykh Abdul Razak mentioned some of them likewise in the chat. He read himself in the chapter of dancing. The chapter of the adab al-raqs, the adab of dancing. That if from the adab of dancing, that if the sheikh becomes too involved in the dancing and his turban falls off, then all of the students, they have to take their turban off too, because it's not proper for the students to have a turban on, and the sheikh, he doesn't have a turban on. And then if the sheikh really gets involved and his thobe comes off, then everybody has to take their garment off because it's not proper. Wallahi, the likes of this. And then they have proof and evidence. What's the proof and evidence for dancing? The proof and evidence for dancing. It's legislated in the deen of Allah, they say. And the evidence is, الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ. الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ. Those who remember Allah standing and sitting and on their sides. So they say this is the proof for dancing. So you're supposed to stand, sit, and lay down and hop around back and forth. This is the evidence that Allah legislated dancing. This is that false ascription. This is from the ways of Jahiliyyah. We seen that yesterday, right? How they ascribed this falsehood to the deen and to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi وسلم, and this manner by misinterpreting this verse. Any sound-minded Muslim, he will hear this verse and know that this is referring to remembering Allah Azza wa Jalla whenever he's walking, whenever he's standing, or whenever he's sitting down, or when he was laying on his side getting ready to go to sleep. Any meaning in every circumstance that he will remember Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah is praising these people for this trait of constantly remembering Allah in every circumstance they are, whether they're standing and walking, or whether they're sitting and riding, or sitting still, or whether they're laying on their side tired and the likes like this. They still remember Allah in every circumstance. Just like their Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hadith of Aisha, she said in Sahih Muslim, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يذكر الله على كل أحيانه. That the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم used to remember Allah in all of his circumstances. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.